Two rockets, same explosion, same failure. 1 year apart. SpaceX just proved they haven't learned anything. Flight 9's booster exploded at landing, just like Flight 3. The upper stage lost control and destroyed, exactly like Flight 3. But here's what's terrifying. After 365 days of promises, the same problems are killing these rockets at the exact same moments. It's not bad luck, it's a pattern. While Elon tweets about Mars, his rockets can't survive basic tests. The fuel leaks, control failures, engine shutdowns, they're all happening again. If SpaceX can't fix these flaws, space exploration is in serious trouble. What's really going on? The shocking truth will blow your mind. Let's dive right in. Here's where the story gets chilling. You're watching a movie where the hero makes the exact same fatal mistake twice. Frustrating, right? That's exactly what happened with SpaceX's Starship program. March 2024. Flight 3, Booster 10 lifts off flawlessly. All 33 Raptor engines roar to life, pushing 5,000 tons of rocket off the pad. Stage separation? Perfect. The booster flips gracefully, ready for its journey home. Then disaster strikes. At 700 seconds into flight, just as the landing burn begins, Booster 10 explodes in a massive fireball. The cause? Liquid oxygen tank depressurization, a catastrophic failure that ripped through the engine compartment like a bomb going off. Fast forward to January 2025. Flight 9, different booster, same story. Booster 14, ironically on its second flight, meets the exact same fate at 620 seconds. Same explosion, same cause, same devastating outcome. But here's what makes this terrifying. SpaceX had 10 months to fix this problem. 10 months of engineering analysis, design changes, and testing. Yet the same critical flaw murdered both boosters at nearly identical moments. Why? What's really going on behind those closed doors at Starbase? Think the booster failures were bad? The upper stage disasters will shock you even more. Ship 28 from Flight 3 seemed unstoppable at first. It reached 150 kilometers altitude, proving Starship could touch the edge of space. But then the unthinkable happened. The reaction control system, those tiny thrusters that keep the ship stable, failed completely. Without attitude control, Ship 28 began tumbling like a massive steel barrel. At 26,000 kilometers per hour, it slammed into Earth's atmosphere completely sideways. The result? Instant destruction over the Indian Ocean at 65 kilometers altitude. Now here's where your jaw will drop. Ship 35 from Flight 9 actually flew higher, 189 kilometers, and achieved true orbital velocity for the first time. It looked like SpaceX had finally cracked the code. The engines were running perfectly. The trajectory was spot on. Victory seemed within reach. Then at minute 20, a fuel leak triggered the exact same reaction control system failure that killed Ship 28. The payload bay doors couldn't open. 8 simulated Starlink satellites never deployed. The ship lost attitude control and tumbled helplessly toward destruction. At minute 46, Ship 35 met the same fiery end as Ship 28, broken apart over the Indian Ocean, another victim of the same unsolved problem. After more than a year, SpaceX is still losing ships to identical failures. This isn't progress. This is insanity. Here's what SpaceX doesn't want you to know. These aren't random accidents. They're symptoms of fundamental design flaws that run deeper than anyone imagines. The liquid oxygen depressurization that killed both boosters? It happens when the massive fuel tanks can't handle the extreme forces during engine restart. Think of it like trying to drink from a straw while someone's violently shaking the cup. The pressure drops, the engines starve for fuel, and boom, instant explosion. But why hasn't SpaceX fixed this after a full year? The answer reveals a disturbing truth about their development process. The reaction control system failures tell an even darker story. These tiny thrusters are like the steering wheel of a car. Lose them, and you're dead in the water. But here's the shocking part. Fuel leaks keep destroying them at the worst possible moments. During Flight 3, the RCS failed during the crucial re-entry phase. During Flight 9, it failed just as the payload deployment was about to begin. Different moments, same catastrophic result. It's like the system is designed to fail when you need it most. Each Starship test flight costs roughly $100 million when you factor in the rocket, fuel, ground operations, and recovery efforts. Flight 3 and Flight 9 combined? That's $200 million literally blown up in identical ways. But the real cost isn't just money, it's time. NASA's Artemis program depends on Starship to land astronauts on the moon. Every repeated failure pushes that timeline further into uncertainty. Commercial satellite deployments, Mars missions, space tourism, everything hinges on SpaceX solving these fundamental problems. Yet after 10 months of promises and patches, the same critical systems are failing at the same critical moments. What does this tell us about SpaceX's engineering process? Here's a theory that might disturb you. What if these failures aren't bugs, but features? What if SpaceX is intentionally pushing these rockets to their breaking points to gather data, knowing full well they'll explode? The evidence is compelling. Both flights achieved their primary objectives, reaching space, testing new systems, gathering crucial flight data. The explosions happened during the most challenging phases, exactly when you'd expect untested systems to fail. Are we witnessing calculated destruction or incompetent engineering? Here's where the story takes a twisted turn. Booster 14 wasn't just any booster, it was flying for the second time, proving SpaceX's reusability concept works. But that success might have caused its own destruction. Reused rockets face stresses that new ones don't. Metal fatigue, seal degradation, component wear. All invisible killers that strike without warning. The liquid oxygen system that worked perfectly on Booster 14's first flight became its executioner on the second. This creates a paradox. The more SpaceX succeeds at reusability, the more they risk catastrophic failures from worn components. It's like playing Russian roulette with increasingly loaded chambers. But here's the terrifying question. If a booster can't survive 2 flights, how can SpaceX promise rapid reusability for Mars missions? Look at the timeline. Flight 3 failures at specific moments. Flight 9 failures at nearly identical moments. Both missions following almost identical trajectories to identical disasters. This isn't coincidence. It's a pattern that reveals something deeper about Starship's design limitations. The question isn't whether these systems will fail, it's when and how spectacularly. The fuel management systems seem fundamentally unstable under flight conditions. The attitude control systems appear vulnerable to the smallest disruptions. The engine restart sequences are Russian roulette with million-dollar stakes. SpaceX has created the world's most powerful rocket, but it's built on foundations that crack under pressure. Every test flight is a gamble with the same loaded dice, and they keep losing the same bet. Here's what keeps me awake at night. If SpaceX can't solve these basic problems with unmanned test flights, what happens when they put humans aboard? The reaction control system that failed on both flights? It's absolutely critical for precise maneuvering near Mars. The fuel management issues? They become exponentially more dangerous during long-duration flights with crew aboard. These aren't minor technical hiccups. They're mission-critical system failures that would mean certain death for any astronauts. Every repeated failure erodes confidence in SpaceX's timeline. Every explosion raises questions about their engineering priorities. Are they moving too fast? Cutting too many corners? Ignoring fundamental safety principles in their rush to Mars? Elon Musk promises Mars colonies by 2029, but based on Flight 9's performance, Starship can't even complete a simple Earth orbit without exploding. How can we trust it to carry humans across 200 million kilometers of space? The systems that keep failing, fuel management, attitude control, engine reliability, these become life or death critical during interplanetary flight. There's no rescue mission if something goes wrong halfway to Mars. Yet SpaceX continues making the same mistakes, suffering the same failures, and offering the same promises of fixes that never seem to work. The answer might determine whether humans ever set foot on Mars or whether Starship remains the world's most expensive fireworks display. But there's something even more disturbing about this pattern of failure, something that suggests the problems run deeper than anyone wants to admit. And that's where our story takes its darkest turn. So here we are, watching SpaceX repeat the same deadly mistakes while promising us Mars colonies and interplanetary travel. The pattern is undeniable. Flight 3, Flight 9, identical failures at identical moments. Either SpaceX hasn't learned from their mistakes, or they're hiding something much bigger from us. But here's what really bothers me. While we're all focused on these spectacular explosions, what other critical problems are they covering up? What happens when Flight 10 launches next month? Will we see the same catastrophic pattern? Or will SpaceX finally break this cycle of repeated failure? The future of space exploration hangs in the balance. NASA's moon landing, Mars colonization, even basic satellite deployment. Everything depends on whether SpaceX can solve problems they've been struggling with for over a year. What do you think? Are these failures part of SpaceX's master plan, or proof that their technology isn't ready for human spaceflight? Drop your thoughts below, because this story is far from over. And if you want to stay ahead of the space race, make sure you're subscribed. Because next week, we're diving into something even more shocking about SpaceX's secret development program. The truth might change everything you think you know about the future of space travel.